Language is a fundamental component of education, shaping communications, identity, and academic success in Malaysia. A now-Western multilingual country, English serves as both a lingua franca and a medium of instructions, and it also emphasizing a sociolinguistic importance. However, tension arise between local English varieties and global linguistic norms, and it also influence how the educational policies, teaching practice, and the students' experiences. Okay, they also emphasize the growing significance of ELF in higher education as a tool for international communications among non-native speakers, and also advocating for an inclusive approach to language learning that reflects global academic for perfect professional realities. Next, this review explores two scholarly articles that examine English in Malaysian higher education from a sociolinguistic perspective. The focus is on the perceptions, challenges, and the realities of using English as a common language for instructions and the communications. By analyzing the experiences of students and educators, this research highlights how English as a lingua franca, or we can use ELF, impacts the pedagogy, intercultural communications, and the academic environment in Malaysian university. Next, in the context of English as a second language education, sociolinguistic competence are crucial for learners to use language appropriately across diverse social settings. This is particularly challenging for Malaysian ESL learners due to the limited exposure to sociocultural language norms. This study examines how ESL instructors in Malaysian universities develop these competences among students through target methods and strategies. The first article investigates the role of ELF in Malaysian higher education within the Southeast Asian and Asian context. It emphasized that English functions as a shared communications tool among diverse linguistic groups and highlights the integrations of cultural and pragmatic norms into teaching practice. And the second article focuses on teaching sociolinguistic competence in ESL classroom. It showcasing strategies that enhance learners' ability to navigate varied social contexts effectively. These studies underscore the need for a holistic approach to ESL education that balance linguistic proficiency with social-linguistic competencies. They also emphasize the growing significance of ELF in higher education as a tool for international communications among non-native speakers.
I will be presenting a summary of the article English as a Lingua Franca in Higher Education in Malaysia by Azira Hashib and Gerhard Leitner. So this article explored the role of English in Malaysian university, focus on linguistic adaptation, policy implications, and challenges in higher education. So the main point here is, first, the article highlights the importance of English as a lingua franca in Malaysia's higher education system. It discussed the need for a bidialectal approach where English is for formal spoken communications while international English is prioritized for academic writing. So this approach aims to bridge the gap between English usage in academic professional settings. Another key issue is the disconnect between the English language demands in university and the practice in secondary education, which still follow native English norms. So this challenge is common across ASEAN countries, as English serves as a primary language for diplomacy and regional communication. The article also discussed how Malaysia, Singapore, and Brunei and the Philippines as well have strong historical ties to English, giving them an advantage in education and the economy. So in contrast, other ASEAN countries must invest significantly in improving English, proficiency to remain competitive in the global and regional landscapes. Furthermore, research by Kirkpatrick 2010 and 2012 has identified linguistic features that make English communication in ASEAN more accessible while allowing speakers to maintain their cultural identities. Malaysian universities are adapting to globalization by strengthening international exchange program and aligning with global education standards. So despite this, there is still a lack of focus on other ASEAN language in Malaysian universities. English remains the dominant medium of instruction, especially in science, medicine, and private institutions, overshadowing regional languages. So in conclusions for this article, English plays a crucial role in Malaysian higher education as a lingua franca. While Malaysia has a strong English language foundation, challenges remains particularly in balancing English with local language and improving secondary education practices. As ASEAN continues to integrate the role of English in Malaysian university will remain essential for global academic and professional engagement. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nur Aida Kaisara. Today I'll be discussing the growing role of English in higher education across Asia, focusing on why it has become so important, the challenges it presents, and how it functions as a regional lingua franca. First, why is English becoming more dominant? One key reason is the effort to standardize education across Asia. By aligning curricula and language policy, university can improve student and faculty mobility, encouraging collaboration between institutions. Another major factor is global university rankings. Many Asian universities, especially in Malaysia, are under pressure to improve their international standing. Since this ranking emphasizes English language instruction and research, university are prioritizing English proficiency to stay competitive. Academic publishing also play a crucial role. Researchers are expected to publish in English language journal to gain recognition and improve their university reputation. This further solidifies English as the primary language of academia in the region. However, there are challenges. One issue is balancing English with culture and linguistic diversity. University must ensure students from different backgrounds develop global communication skills while preserving their own language and culture. Another challenge is the evolving nature of English. Unlike before, English is now a tool for communication rather than be tied to native speaker norms. Zinsky 2007 argues that Asian universities should view English from a global perspective rather than strictly following native speaking standards. Additionally, Asian countries face different challenges in improving English proficiency. Malaysia, Singapore, and the Philippines already have strong English infrastructure, while countries like Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam need greater investment in English education. So, what does this mean for English in Asian? It has become a regional lingua franca, meaning it used as a common language among multilingual speakers. But there's ongoing debate: should students aim for native-like fluency, or is effective communication enough? Suggests that English as a lingua franca, ELF should focus on practical communication rather than traditional grammar and pronunciation rules. In Asia conversation, ELF often includes simplified grammar, omitted verb, inflection, and loanwords from local language such as makan, eat, and kampung village. While ELF works well for informal speech, it can be challenging in academic writing. University must set clear guidelines on when ELF is acceptable and ensure students maintain formal English proficiency for academic success. In conclusion, English is now a key part of Asian higher education, while it improves global competitive and academic collaboration. It also brings challenges related to linguistic diversity and academic standards. The goal is to find a balance integrating English effectively while respecting culture and identity. Thank you. That's all from me. Thank you.
Next, I will discuss the importance of developing social-linguistic competence in the ESL classroom. This study conducted by Abdul Rahman et al. 2022 explores how ESL instructors in a Malaysian university help students use English effectively in different social and academic contexts. So, social-linguistic competence refers to the ability to use language appropriately in different situations. In Malaysia, where students often switch between Manglish and Standard English, mastering this skill is essential for academic and professional success. However, many students struggle with this transition due to limited exposure to social linguistic norms. Next, to help students develop social linguistic competence, ESL instructors use several key strategies. First, explicit teaching helps students understand the differences between formal and informal English. Second, classroom interaction activities like role-playing, debates, and group discussions allow students to practice language in real-world context. Third, linguistic adaptability is encouraged by teaching students when to use a different language styles. Finally, a supportive learning environment helps reduce anxiety and build confidence. Despite these strategies, students still face several challenges. Many struggle with code switching between Manglish and Standard English, making it difficult to communicate in academic and professional settings. Others find it hard to adapt to formal English, especially in assignments and job interviews. Additionally, fear of making mistakes often prevents students from actively participating in discussions. To overcome these challenges, the study suggests using authentic materials like news articles, formal speech, and TED talks to expose students to proper English use. Interactive teaching methods such as problem-solving tasks and case studies also help students apply their learning. Lastly, inclusive university policies should support students with different levels of English proficiency, ensuring equal learning opportunities. Moving forward, more research is needed to understand students' experiences with social linguistic challenges. Additionally, curriculum improvements should be explored to better integrate social linguistic competence into ESL education. In summary, social linguistic competence is crucial for students to succeed in academic and professional settings. By combining effective teaching strategies with supportive policies, universities can help students use English more confidently and appropriately. Moving forward, a balanced approach that promotes both English proficiency and linguistic diversity is key to a well-rounded education.
So next, I'll be discussing the role of English as lingua franca in higher education, particularly in Malaysia and ASEAN, which is ASEAN. The article highlights how English is used in both informal communication and academic writing. However, there is a gap between secondary and higher education. School focus on native speaker norms while university adopt a more flexible approach. This shift can be challenging for students. The article also suggests as Asian countries should embrace their own linguistic university rather than other Western English standard. The article does a great job of explaining why ELF is important and how it affects education and professional communication. But however, there are some gaps. It doesn't provide clear strategies on how university adapt to ELF. Another issue is academic publishing. Many scholars struggle to meet English language journal standard, which limit research opportunity. A discussion on bilingual academic publishing would have the article more impactful. When comparing this article to another study on Malaysia higher education, we see some key differences. The first article focuses on how English is involving in classroom, while the second article looks at external pressure like global university ranking. It also highlights a major issues, which is the urban-rural divide in English education. While cities offer better English instruction, rural students often struggle, which creates inequality in education. So while English is essential for global opportunities, relying too much on it also can weaken local language and cultures. Instead of expecting all students to meet native speaker standard, universities should support students at different level of proficiency. Another issue is academic publishing, which is non-native researchers often struggle to publish their work due to strict language requirement. A bilingual or multilingual academic publishing system could make more accessible. Lastly, forcing all subject to be taught in English may not always beneficial to students, especially for complex subjects. A bilingual education model could be effective.
So, in conclusion to everything, the first article, which highlights on challenge by the ELF, challenge posed by the ELF in the Malaysian higher education context, especially in relation to language policies. Policymakers and educators must recognize the necessity or the importance of accommodating both global English standards and the linguistic diversity found in the Malaysian student population. Meanwhile, for the second article, it highlights on the importance of classroom activities, underlines the strategies in fostering social-linguistic competence. Effective teaching methodologies should not only prioritize on grammatical accuracy and fluency, but they also need to prepare students with the ability to understand diverse linguistic and cultural contexts. Moving on, despite the valuable insights provided by all of these two articles, there are several gaps remain in our research in need of further investigation. First, there is a need to examine students' perspectives on social-linguistic challenges. As their experiences and attitudes can provide crucial insights to the effectiveness and pedagogical approaches. Secondly, we have future studies that shows that we should explore how different teaching methods impact the development of social-linguistic competence. And lastly, the role of multilingualism in Malaysian higher education needs more exploration to determine how linguistic diversity influences English language learning outcomes. So last but not least, it is important for us to address these gaps in our research because they are essential for universities, educators, and policymakers. Institutions have better equipment for students and it has better preparation for academic and professional success. And last but not least, it also ensures that graduates
are proficient and ready in English and navigating the linguistic and cultural diversity inherent. Thank you.